the U.S. does not care at all about the American people, while we care immensely. Our ruling elite care immensely about crushing other countries and facilitating war in other countries. And the example I'm bringing you today is what's just happened in Florida, which I think that some of you may be in Florida right now. I know northern Florida is doing better, but I mean, is doing okay. But so a lot of this is southern Florida. But these are all of the photos and things of what's going on in Florida, just South Florida, I believe, mass flooding in so many areas, including the airport. This is what climate crisis looks like. We've all said Florida would be underwater within several years, and it is just in many areas has been chaos. Now, these are a couple of days old, so I think at least 2 days old. So don't if you live there and you see your street on the video here, then don't assume that's what's happening out your window at this minute. But I mean, this is an entire boulevard with just endless stranded cars. This is what a climate crisis looks like, folks. This is it. This is it. And people are acting like we're not in it, or it's fake, or it's any, in a couple of years, things might get bad. Talk to these people standing in the middle of this and ask them if things might get bad in a few years. And yet the U.S. is busy making war with other countries, making war with Ukraine, making war with Yemen. Until now, we support peace, but making war with Syria, hundreds of billions of dollars sent to Ukraine. Of course, while we could have been heading off this climate crisis, we spent trillions of dollars in Afghanistan while we could have been dealing with this mass flooding that is now happening. We could have been prepping for this. We could have been prepping cities for this. Nothing. We've done nothing. Zero has been done to prep or deal with this. And in fact, the perpetrators, the biggest perpetrators, like 70% of all global warming emissions come from 100 companies. And those companies are still doing exactly what they were doing 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They're just massive expenditures on fossil fuels. Okay, this just looks like when I leave the washer running. I mean the washing machine, but we've not slowed down at any of this. And in fact, we seem to be speeding up in many ways. But Florida, you're going to see, and I talked about this a couple of live streams ago, you're going to see millions of climate refugees within the United States. We don't like to use the term refugee in the United States, right? Anybody who leaves the United States is not a refugee, even if they leave because they couldn't handle the racism, couldn't handle the gun violence, couldn't handle they couldn't handle is a bad term, didn't like, were furious with, were unhappy with, felt unsafe because of the police brutality, the police killings. Any of those reasons you leave the United States, it's not called being a refugee, even though you are leaving for your own safety. It's called immigrating to another place. Okay, that I like because it's a police car up to its windows in water. That I'm down with. Let's use all of the police cars as boats when the area floods. Someone has a good point. Venice is... Oh, wait, no, it's not. It's in somewhere that's known for like water drying up. And so we can have this be the new... This can be the new, new Venice. But this is going to be happening more and more in Florida. Oh, yeah, people said Ron DeSantis, Ron DeFascist, is not even in Florida at the moment. I think where is Ron DeSantis was actually trending during all of this. Maybe he flew to Cancun like Ted Cruz did when nobody in Texas had power because there was a blizzard and in like a warmer weathers, there was a blizzard or what are normally warmer weather. And everybody killed the electric grid by trying to heat their homes. This guy is swimming down a highway, which is not a position you want to be in, really. Even the airport, which you would think the airport, among many things, would have better contingency plans for flooding, but this is showing all the people stuck. This is the airport, just a complete like lagoon in Fort Lauderdale. This is the airport from the sky, which is like a swamp. By the way, if you're listening on the podcast, and I realize this is not as much fun as a lot of the other stuff I do. I don't normally show this many photos, but oh yeah, this is more footage of the airport with trucks up to the windows and water, planes, moving very slow. They canceled all the flights, but we could have been prepping for all this, and we should continue prepping for it and actually dealing with the climate crisis. But instead, we're sending $100 billion to Ukraine, sending $100 billion, while we could be moving people that can't afford to move. Most people in America can't afford to move. Was it 64% of Americans said they've had trouble over the past year affording basic necessities? So I don't think any of them are going to be spending $1,000 on moving locations, moving houses, moving cities. $1,000 would be the minimum I'm sure it would cost to try and secure a new place, and all the moving involved and moving family members and all that stuff.